So at the end of this video, you will know how to set up a company for both purchasing and selling items. So that means the company will be able to purchase items and get those booked into the GL and update the inventory and so on. And you will also be able to sell the items. And this is the basic operations of most trading companies. So in order to get to this point, we're going to have a look at both general business posting groups, general product posting groups, VAT business posting groups, and VAT product posting groups. We'll also have both customer and vendor posting groups, and we'll look at how to set up a customer, an item, and a vendor, and how to set up a bank account and a chart of accounts. And all these different parts will be integrated and fully operational at the end of this video. So let's get started with setting up this company. So the first thing you need to do is to go to the search bar and write companies and click the link, and then you have to click new, and let's call it bookstore, like that. And then NAV just has to do a little bit of thinking before it's actually created. And it looks like we're there now. So you go OK, and then from the drop down here you go select company, and you now have a company called Bookstore. So this is a completely empty company. If we go to our chart of accounts, we'll see that it's empty. Basically every single table is empty. So the first thing we need to do is to build a very small basic chart of accounts. And I've got some notes out here. So the first thing we need to do is our assets, main category. We're gonna go with 1000, like this, and that's a balance sheet. Okay. Next one is gonna be our bank. Account. And it is also a balance sheet. This is a posting. Actually, our assets account here isn't a posting. It is a heading, like that. Because you don't want to post to this one. This is only to divide the different sections of the chart of accounts. So the next one we're going to create is the inventory account. That's a balance sheet, and we want to post to it. Okay. And our receivables, like this. It's a balance sheet, and we want to post to it. And then we have the liabilities area, and we give that 2000 straight, and call that the liabilities. It's a balance sheet, but we don't want to post to it. We just want it to be a heading. There we go. And next account will be 2010, and our equity. It's a balance sheet, and we do want to post to it. Then we have sales VAT, like this. And it's also a balance sheet, and we want to post to it. Okay. And we have our purchase VAT. Purchase VAT, balance sheet, we want to post to it. 10, 20, 30. So we go payables now, 2040 for payables. It's also a balance sheet, and we also want to post to it. And then we have our profit and loss part of this chart of accounts, which starts with our sales section. And this is just the heading, so we don't want to post to it, we want to have it as a heading. And the new one is going to be domestic sales. It's a profit and loss, income statement, and we want to post to it. Actually, I think we need to just change this one to income statement, like that. And the next one is going to be our cost section, and that's an income statement as well. We don't want to post to it, it's just the heading of the section. And we have two accounts in this one called cost one. We actually have three. So we have I'm just gonna make a small change here. Like that. So 4010, call that purchase, and it's an income statement, and we want to post to it. $4,030, or was it 20? It was 20. And it is the cost of goods sold. Actually, let's go with the direct cost applied first. It's an income statement, and we want to post to it. And then we have the cost of goods sold, 4030. Like that. It's an income statement, and we want to post to it. So that does it for the chart of accounts. The next thing I want to do is go in and do make some check marks, or a little bit of setup in the inventory setup. This is not something I'm going to explain in this video, but there will be other videos that explains these settings. But you wanted to switch on the automatic cost posting, and you want to set this setting to always. Very briefly, this means that we don't have to run two batch jobs that updates the item ledger entries and then transfers the cost to the general ledger. If you set it up like this, it will do it automatically. So the next thing we can do is to create a bank account. And we click new and give it a number. Let's just say 10, and the name could be HSBC, for example. The only important thing to set up here in order to make it work when you want to post with it is the posting tab, and more specifically the bank account posting group. So you click here and you select new bank account posting group, and you give it a name, and then you indicate here which bank account, GL account this bank account posting group should be posting to. And we can make a lookup to the GL here and select our bank account like that, and click OK, and make sure that it actually fills out this field like that. So we've now made a bank account, and the next thing we can do is to register our equity. So we want to, let's say we want to open the company with 10,000 pounds. We will have to debit the bank account and credit the equity account. So we go to General Journals and we set up one line, which is where we're going to select the bank account we just created here, and as the amount we will choose 10,000, and the balancing account for this particular transaction is going to be our equity account. There. So this is positive, which means it debits, and it debits the account over here, so it's going to debit our bank account and it will credit our equity account. So we get this posted. It's probably gonna want a document number. So we just put something in here. And oh, that was the wrong field, that's the reason. Like that. That actually brings us to another problem. There's no accounting period within the filter. So this is a little bit special for the British version of NAV, but I think other versions have the same thing. You need to create your fiscal or financial year. So before we can actually post this one, we have to go and create the year. So let's see if we can get away with this. Fiscal year. Calendar setup. This is slightly different from each localization of NAV. So in this particular version, we can go to year, and we have one button in here which says create fiscal year. We're gonna click that, and our starting date is going to be, let's say, the 1st of January 2014. So it should be like this, and we go OK. Yes, and there we go. So that sets up the financial year, and we have if we go to month, we can see that it has set up all the months, and if we go to year, we can see that it has set up one line for the year. So we can try to post our general journal again. Post. And the lines were successfully posted. So let's just go back to our chart of accounts and have a look at the implications of that particular posting. So we now have 10,000 pounds on our bank account, and the company is worth 10,000. So that's all good. So the next thing we need to do is to be able to buy an item. And in order to buy an item, we obviously need somebody to buy from, and we also need something to buy. So this part of the video is setting up first the vendor and then setting up the item. We're probably going to get a few error messages, but I'll correct those as we go along. So let's start with the vendor. Vendors here. We create a new vendor and give him a number. And let's call him domestic vendor. So in order to use this vendor to post, there are 3 fields on the inventory. On the invoicing tab that that needs to be set up, and we actually haven't done the the setup so that we will be able to do this setup. But what we need is a general business posting group, we need a VAT business posting group, and we need a vendor posting group. So let's get those set up. The easiest one is our vendor posting group. So let's do that first. You can either go in from here and click a new one, or you can go out here and search for vendor posting group and click this one. So let's just get this column bigger, 3, and let's call this vendor posting group, let's call it domestic. So the most basic thing we need to set up here is our payables account. So we're going to choose that one, and it is down here. There we go. That's actually it. That's all we need to set up for now on the vendor posting groups. So we can go back to our vendor and set him up as a domestic vendor. So the next thing that we need to do is give him a general business posting group, and let's just set up a general business posting group as well. And let's call that domestic as well. So it's not the same as the payables account. It controls something else, although I've chosen to call it domestic as well. Yeah, we need to set this up. I'll show you in a little while for how it controls which GL accounts to post to. So we can go back to our domestic vendor here. And set up this domestic. And that does it for now for setting this up. Actually, let's set up the VAT business posting group as well. So the exercise is similar. We go to VAT business posting groups, and we set up a VAT business posting group, also called domestic. And we go back to our vendor. And set this up. Okay, so now we've set up on the vendor what we need for it to work. But it's actually only this posting group where we have specified any kind of connection with posting into the GL. So we still haven't told NAV where these posting groups will be posting into the GL. And the reason we haven't is because you cannot tell just by just based on these either of these two posting groups. You cannot tell where to post into the GL, because this is dependent on how to post into or which item you are trading. So I have a separate video that goes into the details of the posting groups and the logic of that one. So I'm not going to explain too much here. This is rather just how to set it up. So in order to actually be able to buy with this vendor, we also need to set up an item, and we need to set up some posting groups on the item and then combine those posting groups before we can choose the GL accounts where they need to post to. So I'm just going to leave this vendor out here for the moment, and then I'm going to make an item. And we're going to make a new item, and let's call that book. And we always need to have a unit of measure here. So I'm just gonna, because this pieces doesn't exist, we just have to create this unit of measure like that. and click OK, and then it's okay. Then it's fine. So we have one piece of a book. To set up the item and to be able to trade with the item, that is buy and sell the item, we need to set up something on the invoicing tab, and it's actually also the posting groups, which are the bare minimum. So it's similar to the vendor. So we have the general product posting group. Actually, let's just open both the item and the vendor. I think we can go back and get the vendor here. So we've got our vendor in this part of the screen and our item on the other one. So we've got something called general product posting group, and we got something called general business posting group. And those two, we need to go into a separate window and combine those and then select some GL accounts. The same logic goes for the VAT business posting group and the VAT product posting group. We also have to go into a window and combine them and tell NAV where to post into the GL. So what we can set up now, and which is somewhat similar to the vendor posting group, is the inventory posting group, and we can click here. You can either create a new one down here, or you can go to the search field and write inventory posting group. I'm just gonna do it from here instead. So I select new, and I'll call this let's just call it books, like that. So there's a little bit more we need to set up here than just typing it in, because we actually need to go into the setup and select which inventory GL account this one posts to. So I'll click setup here, and usually if you're a small company, you always buy and sell from your location blank. But if you are a bigger company with several warehouses, maybe around the country or around the world, you can have various locations here. But we just want to trade with location blank. So the inventory account we want to use when we are buying books on location blank is the inventory account, this one. And for now, that's all we need to set up here. So we can go out of this and click OK, and the item has now been set up with this books. So the next thing we need to set up are these two fields here, which, as I just mentioned, will be combined with these two fields when we do a purchase to figure out which GL accounts to book to. But we need to give it a product posting group here, and as we don't have any product posting groups, so I'm going to create a new one, and I'm going to call this books as well. Usually when you rename, it takes just a few seconds for it to actually rename it. So the VAT product posting group, let's make a new one for this one as well, and let's call that normal, because VAT in most countries you have a set or a default VAT percentage which covers about 95% of all your goods and trading situations. So normal is a good word for this one. Okay, so the first thing the next thing we'll do is to go to this window and combine the general product posting group and the general business posting group and tell NAV where to book. So I'm just going to leave this item card and this vendor open here and catch my main window in the background here, and then I'm going to go to general posting setup and just expand this line here so we can see. So the place we combine these two posting groups is in the two first columns, and then all the references to the GL accounts takes place in the following columns. There are quite a lot going outwards here, and what you can notice is that the first selection, the first sum 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, the first 8 columns or fields here relates to sales. So that's all about when you do a sales transaction, and the next 8 columns are all about purchase, so these ones, and then we have some in between accounts out here, among other things your cost of goods sold account and yeah, some other accounts. Some of these we'll get back to in this video, but for now we just need to care about purchasing. That's what we're doing right now. We haven't gotten to the sales part. So, but we need to combine these two posting groups, and unfortunately we can't actually do the setup in this line. We have to create a new one and get it in the card format. But this card shows exactly the same as each of these lines. So we choose our general business posting group, and we choose domestic. It's the only one we've created, and it's the one that our vendor is set up to. And we choose our general product posting group, which is books. And to begin with, we're concerned about the purchasing side. We're going to have to get back to this window when we do the sales side. So the purchases account is the account where when we buy something, that's where it's booked. You'll see that in a little while. I have a number of other videos that gets into the details of the bookkeeping side of NAV. So for now, I'm just going to show you how to get this set up. So we wanted to book into our purchases account, which is in our cost section, and that's actually it for now. So now we've set up the combination between the general business posting group and the general product posting group. So the next thing we want to do is go have a look at. We want to have a look at the VAT. Let's have a look at the VAT. So now we want to combine the VAT business posting group and the VAT product posting group. And a short explanation here is that VAT is always dependent on what you buy and who you buy it from. So that is the logic. That's why we have both the business, which refers to who we are buying from, and we have the product, which refers to what we are buying. So we go back into the main screen here, and VAT posting setup here, and it's somewhat similar to the window we just looked at, only this relates to the VAT. So I'm just going to expand these columns so we can see it a little better. So once again, in the first two columns we combine the two posting groups, and then we have a number of setup options going outwards here. Among other things, we have the VAT sales account, so we need to specify our GL account, and we have the purchase VAT account that we can specify here. But we also have to create this from the card view here. And the first thing we do is to choose the VAT business posting group, domestic, and the VAT here. So this refers to, yeah. So whenever we have a purchase where we are buying from a vendor that we have defined as VAT business posting group domestic, and when we are buying an item that is set up for normal VAT, we have the item out here, product posting group. So when we buy for from that kind of vendor, that kind of item, NAV will locate this particular card because we just told it by setting up this combination. So first we need to indicate the VAT percentage. Let's go with 20%. And as we're focusing on the purchase side right now, we need to set up the purchase VAT account here. Purchase VAT, this one, and that should be it for now. Okay. So we're almost ready to book our first invoice, and I'm actually going to do it. We do need some more setting up of GL accounts, but I'm going to get an error message, and then we will use that error message to set up the remaining posting setup. So I'll just make this vendor a little smaller and the item a little smaller. And close down our VAT posting setup, which by the way now has a line because we set it up. So when we go to make a purchase invoice, let's try to make it and see how far we can get. New. I haven't set up any number series, so we're just going to call the first purchase invoice number 1. And then we have to specify who we want to buy from, which is our domestic vendor. And that kind of does it for the who. And then we need to specify what we would like to buy. And we need to choose item here. And in item number, we choose our only book. And recall when I was setting up the inventory setup, I said we usually buy 2 into location blank, so we're going to leave this blank. We want to buy 1 of those. We want to buy 1 piece of those, and it's going to cost us 100 pounds. So this is our purchase invoice. Very simple, and we can try to post it, but we're gonna get those error messages. Well, first one, vendor invoice number must have a value. That's a pretty simple one to fix. Vendor invoice number, so we just put in something random here, and that should satisfy it. So we try to post again. So this is the first posting error we are going to get, and it says direct cost applied account must have a value in general posting setup, general business posting group domestic, and general product posting group books. So what it's saying is that in the window general posting setup, it's referring to the line which is set up for domestic and books, and it's saying that the field called direct cost applied is not filled out. So if we just go back, if we remember that, I'll just see if I can take a snippet of that one, like that. So we have it. So if we go back to our general posting setup here, it's first of all, it's referring to the line domestic books, which happens to be the only line we have, which is domestic books. And it's actually saying that the field called direct cost applied is not set up. And it needs to be set up. So we have to go select the line and click edit. And then we go to the inventory account down here. And we find our direct cost applied. And click it up, and we actually have the account already available here, so we select it. Okay, and now we can try to post our purchase invoice again. Looks like we have to open it again and try to post it. Well, it went through. So the next thing we can do is just go and have a quick look at what implications this posting of this invoice had. So let's go first to the vendor card, which we actually already have open, so there's no reason to open it again. We have our vendor out here, and we can now see that we owe our vendor £100. So that's good. The next thing we can go and have a look at is our item card. Hopefully we have an item now in inventory in stock. Yes, we can have a closer look at this one if we want to, just by clicking here, and then you can see that we purchased one of these and it was item number 1, so on and so on. And another thing we can do is to go and look at the posted invoice, posted purchase invoice, and see what GL accounts it has booked to. It's actually, apparently it's we have yeah, we put in the value as including VAT. Usually you would want to put in the value excluding VAT and then have NAV top it up with the VAT. But there's a check mark, there's a setting that controls this. Anyways, we can navigate on our invoice here, and we can go and have a look at the GL entries, and we've got 5. I've got another video which explains in depth why we have 5 bookings, but very briefly, we owe our vendor £100. Of those we can reclaim VAT worth 16. It's a cost for us of 83. But as this is an inventory item, it is pulled out of the cost section and moved into the inventory. So this should be the inventory account here. Inventory. And this is the direct cost applied, which pulls it out of the cost section. So that really does it for the purchase side. We can also just go have a quick look at the chart of accounts and see it in that format. So we still have our equity here, but this particular transaction, we can see it here, 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 and here. Alright, so that was the first part of setting up the company. We now are able to purchase items and get them booked into the GL. So the next thing we need to do is to set up the sales side, because we want to sell this item that we just bought, and hopefully we'll make a small profit. So in order to set this up, we need a customer. And we'll click new and give this customer a number and call him domestic. Domestic customer. And in the invoicing tab, once again we need to fill in these three fields. General business posting group. We actually already have a domestic posting group for this one. And the VAT. We also have a domestic for that one, so we'll select that. The customer posting group we haven't set up yet, so it's very similar, or it's actually exactly the same as the vendor posting group. It's just the opposite way around. So we click new, and what this controls is our receivables account. So domestic. The name is going to be domestic, and the receivables account we can choose here, like that. And that's all we have to set up for now in this on the customer posting group. All right. So the next thing we need to do is, as we did with the vendor, we need to combine the posting groups of the item with the posting groups of the customer, so that NAV knows that when we are selling a particular item to a particular customer, where should it book then into the chart of accounts. So the first thing we need to set up is the combination between general business posting group, being domestic, and general product posting group. We've already been there when we set up the vendor, but we didn't specify a sales account. So this time we need to go to this matrix where you can combine, and it's actually it's the same line as we used for the vendor, but instead of using these purchase accounts going downwards here, we need to specify or focus on the sales accounts. More specifically, it's this sales account that we need to focus on right now. So in order to get this set up, we highlight the line and click edit, and then you get into the setup area. So the sales account is where our sales are going to be booked, and we've already created that account in the chart of accounts. So it's this one. Oh, we've made an error setting this one up, so it needs to be posting. We can just change this from this view. So it's actually because we're selecting the wrong account. Never mind, it needs to be domestic sales. Sorry about that. So that should be fine for now. So that does it for the combination between general business posting group and general product posting group. So we've indicated where to post this particular part of the sales part of a sale. We've indicated where to post that when we sell to a domestic customer, and when the thing we are selling is a book. So the next thing we need to do is set up the VAT, and we need to combine or tell NAV where to book sales VAT when we are selling a book or an item that belongs to the normal VAT posting group, and when we are selling to a customer which is domestic. I hope it's not confusing with these same. I'm using the same name, domestic, for multiple posting groups, but you can name them whatever you want. Maybe you want to name this one VAT domestic or customer posting group or vendor posting group, just to distinguish them between from each other. So anyways, we need to go to the VAT posting setup and find the combination of VAT business posting group domestic and VAT product posting group normal. So that's what we're going to do. VAT posting setup here, and it's the only line we have, and we can see that it's actually already been set up with the VAT percentage, but we haven't specified which sales account to book to. So we will go edit, and we specify our VAT sales account, sales VAT, like that. And although there's a little bit more posting setup we need to do, but let's once again, as I did with the purchase invoice, let's make the error message tell us what to do. This is actually, you can also set up the company using just error messages. So the first thing you do is is you go and try and make an invoice, and then you'll get lots of posting errors, and you can build your posting setup from that, from those error messages. So let's go to a sales invoice. And a new one. And the first one. And we select which customer to sell to, like this. And then we select what we want to sell. We want to sell our book. So when we want to sell one of those, but let's sell it so that we're going to make a profit. So let's try to post this invoice. And see if it complains. Yeah, so we need to set up, or we need to specify a cost of goods sold account. So when we're selling something, when we're selling a book, we need to take this from the inventory, and so the inventory needs to be reduced, and on the other hand we have a cost of goods sold. Once again, I have another video that goes into more depth, and also the accounting, and also the concept of cost of goods sold from an accounting point of view. But to set this up, we need to, let's take a screenshot or snippet of this one again, so we have it, and just save it out here. But what it's saying is that it's telling us to go to the general posting setup window, and then we need to find the line which relates to domestic and books, and then we need to make sure that the cost of goods sold account is set up. That's what it's saying in this error message. So we'll do as we are told. Here, go to general posting setup, and the account which is not set up is the one down here, but we have to click edit and then scroll all the way down and choose it here, cost of goods sold, like this, and click OK. And now we can try to post our sales invoice one more time and see if we get any error messages. Hopefully it will go through. Yeah, so it went through, and we can just do a little bit of looking at the result of this one. Firstly, we can look at our customer, which is out here. So our customer now owes us 240 pounds. I see that apparently on the sales side, the 200 that I specified was before VAT, and then it has topped it up with 20% of VAT. So the customer owes us 240 now. In the books on the item card, we don't have any more on inventory because we sold it. We can see that these two item ledger entries, we have one going in, which was from the purchase, and then one going out, which is the sales. And we can also go to our posted sales account, or posted sales invoice here, and double click that and have a look in navigate. Unfortunately, the navigate functionality is not solid, so it always looks at the document number and the date, and unfortunately I have given our sales document and our purchase document the same number, which is 1, and they are booked on the same date. So that's why it comes up with 10 entries, which is not correct. So if we click it, we'll see it also shows us the purchase transactions. So I'm just going to identify the sales ones. basically it's this is purchase, this is purchase, this is purchase, this, and this is purchase, I think. Something along those lines. But we have 240, which is probably what our customer owes us, so that's in our receivables account. Then we have 40 VAT, which is probably our sales VAT. We have to pay of those 240 we get from our customer, we have to pay 40 of those to the VAT authorities. And then we've had a sale of 200. So that goes into our domestic sales account. And then we have some cost of goods sold. So we need to find our cost of goods sold account. Let's just, yeah. So that was this one. So we have 83 worth of cost. And to get those 83 worth of cost, I bet you this is the inventory. Yeah, we have a reduction in inventory. So it's actually the 5 bottom ones here, which are related to our sale, and the top 5, which were related to our purchase. Yeah. So we can also just go back to our chart of accounts. And have a look at that. We've got, let me just see if I can get a little bit more room here. So we've got sales worth 200. Our customer owes us 240. We need to pay the tax authorities 40, well, less the 16 that we can reclaim. Selling this item, we incurred a cost of 83 because we pulled that out of our inventory. So there's actually a minus 83 here on the inventory, but as it balances out with the purchase, it goes to 0. We can have a look at those two transactions. So the first one was when we put the item on inventory, it debited or increased our inventory with 83. And then when we sold it again, it decreased our inventory with 83. So that really was the video on how to set up a company from the beginning with sales and purchase and items and a simple chart of accounts. If you have any input or questions, feel free to contact me on my email account, thomasterkelsen@live.com, and I'm making more videos, so if there's something you want covered in any area of NAV, let me know. Yeah, thank you. So if you weren't able to see the fiscal year button, I'll show you now how to get this visible. So the button that wasn't visible was if you click calendar setup and you go into navigate and year, then you don't see any button called create fiscal year here. So the way to solve this is to type profiles and click this one, and we want to make the bookkeeper the default row center. So we double click on this one and set a check mark here in the default row center, click OK, and most likely we'll just need to restart NAV. Let's just check if it's already calendar. Fiscal year calendar setup. Yeah, no, so we'll just need to close down NAV and get it reopened. And let's have another look. sorry, fiscal year, like that, and calendar setup, and navigate, and year, and create fiscal year. Here it is.